Hi there and welcome to my channel where I will be going over all things fluid art. In today's video we're going to start with the basics and I'm going to show how I mix and pour a base layer for a fluid acrylic painting. To start off, I have a 7-ounce plastic cup. I'm going to be filling it with a mixture of Floetrol, acrylic paint, and water. I'll be using 6 ounces of the mixture to cover a canvas that's 12 inch by 12 inch. First up, I'm adding in some Floetrol here. It's a US Floetrol. I get it on Amazon in this big gallon jug. I'm going to fill the cup about halfway up. This paint additive helps with the consistency. It thins out the acrylic paint, helps a lot with the flow. So it's a great base for this acrylic mixture. Now I'll be adding in the acrylic paint. I'm going to be doing a white base layer today. I buy my white paint in these big 2-liter jugs. This is also from Amazon. I go through a lot of white, a lot more than any other color, so I do like to buy it in bulk here. It is quite thick, so I will be thinning it out further with water next. I'm filling about 3 ounces of this white paint, so it's almost to the top of this 7-ounce cup. It ends up being about half Floetrol and half acrylic paint. And lastly here, I'll be adding in the water. It's just tap water, and I'm just gonna eyeball it, stir until I get the perfect consistency for this base layer. I do like my base layer mixture to be a little more thin than the ones I used to pour after. So I mix it and then I lift up the stick to kind of determine if it's the right consistency, which I'll show in a second here. So I'm just lifting it up, and as it drips down and touches the rest of the paint, you can see the outline, but it quickly dissipates. That is the consistency I'm looking for the base layer. And here I have it, so I don't need to add in any more water. Once the mixture is the correct consistency and it's mixed well, you're ready to pour it onto the canvas. Here I have the canvas. It's 12 by 12 inch. I'm pouring the mixture directly on top, making sure there's nothing left in the cup by spreading it around the edges here. I find a little chunk. I'm just going to pick it out with my gloved hand here and then just use my hand to spread the paint around. I've seen a lot of people do this with a hairdryer. I find it just easier to use my hand. This doesn't need to be perfect in any way. It's just the base layer. As long as it's covering most of the canvas, you're good. So I just like to make it easy and use the glove. I also don't like to waste any paint, so I don't let it pour off the edges since it doesn't need to be perfect. I just get it close and spread it with my hand here so that it's pretty even all the way across the canvas. So again, for the 12 by 12 inch canvas, I use 6 ounces of the Floetrol acrylic paint water mixture to cover, and it just covers. I don't want to waste any paint, especially for the base layer, since it does not need to be perfect. So I don't let it pour off the edges. You can see on the table underneath that it's not dripping off. As the paint starts to drip off the edges, it really pulls. And since this is just the base layer, we're just going to use the gloved hand to spread it out the best we can. Then I put it back on top of the cup, so I was tapping it down there to try to get rid of any air bubbles. And then we're almost ready to pour. I like to let this canvas sit for a couple of minutes. Any air bubbles will come to the surface. And then I use a torch here to get them all out. Letting it sit for a few minutes before you pour will also help it even out the best it can. So there we have it. We have the base layer, and now we're ready to pour.